Lying woman, so lying John. CNN sucks. On 11, he lies about everything. Jeff Salami, he whines like a girl. Jay Tupper, you make me wanna hurl. CNN sucks. Yeah, sucker. We're talking. CNN sucks. And Cooper, you know it's true. CNN sucks. Alan, can you hear us yet? CNN sucks. Give you a story that you'll never forget. CNN sucks.
CNN sucks indeed. Hello everyone, welcome to NeoUnrealist. Guys, I'm going to the well for a second time on this, and let me tell you, this well goes very, very deep. My last video was about Ilhan Omar, and it looks like I just scratched the surface on the whole brother sham marriage thing and her sordid history. More documents, more photos, more records, more articles that I've uncovered that are just imploding her claims of nothing to see here, move on. In my previous video, I showed various documents and screenshots from social media that support the accusation that Representative Ilhan Omar of Minnesota married her brother in 2009. Now, I've found more reporting with more documents and records that clearly show that Ilhan Omar is not telling the truth. The following information comes from local Minnesota reporters Preya Samsundar, Scott Johnson, and David Steinberg, who made this handy chart to make it easier to follow the convoluted story of the Congresswoman's family and their years, over a decade now, of fraud. Now, multiple sources within the Minneapolis-based Somali community told these reporters that Ilhan entered the United States in 1995 as a fraudulent member of the Omar family. The Omar family is not the family of the notorious Minnesota representative. They are a totally separate family, biologically and genealogically, and they were granted asylum in the U.S., and the Omars permitted Ilhan Omar's father, along with her sister Sarah and her, to use their name falsely to apply for asylum in the United States as they were languishing in that refugee camp in Kenya as members of the Omar family. Now, the other three members of Ilhan's immediate family, they gained asylum in the United Kingdom. The Somali community sources claimed that the Congresswoman's true name, before applying for asylum, is Ilhan Noor Saeed Elmi, that her father's name is Noor Saeed Elmi Mohammed, and that her sister Sarah's true name is Sarah Noor Saeed Elmi. The three siblings who went to the United Kingdom are her sister Layla Noor Saeed Elmi and her brothers Mohammed Noor Saeed Elmi and Ahmed Noor Saeed Elmi. Now, if what the Somali community sources say is true, note that the Congresswoman and all her siblings used the traditional Somali naming custom of taking their given name and appending their father and grandfather's names to form their full name. So in 1995, you have the father, Noor Saeed Elmi, entering the United States as Noor Omar Mohammed, and then you got Sarah Noor Saeed Elmi. She becomes Sarah Noor, and the Congresswoman went from being Ilhan Noor Saeed Elmi to Ilhan Abdullahi Omar. So note, in the case of the sister, all she did was drop the Elmi part of the name and just change the spelling of Noor from N-U-R to N-O-O-R. So it's still Noor, it's just spelled differently. In the case of the Congresswoman, she dropped her father and grandfather's names of Noor Saeed Elmi. She kept her name Ilhan, and then she took on the false name of one of the Omars, Abdullahi Omar, so that she entered the U.S. as Ilhan Abdullahi Omar, as if she was his daughter, I guess, if you follow the naming custom. But her United Kingdom brothers and sisters, they retained their real names. Noor Saeed Elmi, that portion of the name. So if this accusation turns out to be true, then Ilhan Omar, Ilhan Noor Saeed Elmi, whatever her name is, she was only 12 years old in 1995 when all this happened. So you can't really get her on any kind of fraud for that, I wouldn't think. But it does mean that she obtained her citizenship and naturalized later fraudulently which, unless I'm mistaken, under normal circumstances, that would make her citizenship null and void. You know, unless she filed a lot of paperwork and had a good reason for it. But except because her country of origin is Somalia, I'm guessing that removal to Somalia is all but impossible. That would never happen. I would imagine that even in the unlikely event that the government ever pursued this case to that extreme, I mean, it would just be too easy for her to claim that she'd be persecuted in her homeland as being associated, related to members of a former detested regime. And the country's just, in fact, it's a failed state, so that's not going to happen. But I'm no expert in that field of law, so I'll leave that to others to hash out what should or would happen in that unlikely event. And I'll just focus my attention on acts that she did as an adult that she would have clear legal liability for, because, you know, you can't really go after her for stuff that happened when she was a preteen. But one thread worth pursuing related to that is I don't know what is the law about seeking political office, like being a member of Congress, under a false name. That might be a different story. But Ilhan Omar, let's get back to what her adult acts. Ilhan Omar claims that in 2002, when she was 19 years old, she and a man named Ahmed Hirsi applied for a marriage license, but never finalized the application, and thus, technically, legally, they were not married. She claims that they were married through their quote-unquote faith tradition. Oh, well, okay. You know, under most people's definition, you get married, whether it's in a church or a mosque. You didn't file the paperwork, you did. I mean, they were living as husband and wife. Ilhan Omar, she also claims that in 2008, she and her faith husband, whatever you want to call it, that, you know, you'd think this would be easy. If you ask someone if they're married or not, usually the answer is a simple yes or no. Okay, but anyway, she says that in 2008, she and Ahmed Hirsi, they decided to end their relationship in their faith tradition after reaching what she calls an impasse in their life together. So Ilhan Omar claims that she entered a relationship with a British citizen named, oddly enough, Ahmed Nur Saeed Elmi. Remember, we were just going through her list of siblings, and according to the Somali community, this Ahmed Nur Saeed Elmi is one of the brothers that I listed before that, got asylum in the United Kingdom. Marrying him legally, the accusation would go, well, we know she married someone named Ahmed Nur Saeed Elmi in 2009 because we have she filed the marriage certificate. And remember, if you watched yesterday's video, he's listed on the marriage certificate as having a birthday of April 4th, 1985. So keep in mind, Ilhan Omar's never said how she met or how she knew Ahmed Saeed Elmi. Remember, this guy's living in the United Kingdom. All of a sudden, he comes to the United States and he has a wife waiting for him. So the public school records, they indicate in the state of Minnesota that a guy named Ahmed, middle initial N, Elmi, with the same birthday as the man listed on her 2009 marriage license, her April 4th, 1985 husband, her husband number 2, and Ahmed N. Elmi is listed as having attended the 12th grade just 1 year, graduating with a high school diploma in the 2002-2003 school year in the city of St. Paul. You know, they have record of an Ahmed N. Elmi. So one of the reporters, Preya Samsundar, back in 2016 when she got on this trail, she went and questioned members of the graduating class of that high school, and they identified Ahmed Nur Saeed Elmi's father, that student, as the man that Representative Ilhan Omar identifies publicly as her father. And that Ahmed Elmi, the student that in that record, lived with Ilhan Omar's father at his home address. So now, I don't know about you, but when two people call the same man their father, or they're generally regarded to be siblings. You know, in this case, brother and sister. Now, back to what Ilhan Omar claims. She claims that from 2009 on until late in 2011, she was separated from her husband, you know, her first husband in faith or whatever. She was married to Ahmed Elmi. Now, remember, she had 2 children with Ahmed Hirsi already, her husband number 1. But she claims that from 2009 to 2011, she was married and in a relationship with husband number 2, the British citizen Ahmed Elmi, who many claim is her brother. She says that husband number 2 left for the United Kingdom in 2011, and she never saw him or had contact with him ever again. And she wrote that under penalty of perjury on her no-fault divorce in the state of Minnesota in Hennepin County in her divorce petition in 2017. This was only less than 2 years ago that she swore to this under oath, that in 2011, Ahmed Elmi left her for the United Kingdom, that he left the country, and that she never had contact with him or even knows how to get in contact with him since then. They completely fallen off the face of the earth. And we'll quickly see how that's a lie. Ilhan Omar claims that she ended her relationship with Elmi in 2011, got back together with husband number 1, this Ahmed Hirsi fellow, the father of, to that point in her life, the father of her 2 children, marrying him once again, quote unquote, in their faith tradition, because remember, she's still legally married at that point. She hadn't filed for a divorce. In June of 2012, Ilhan Omar, she has her 3rd child with Ahmed Hirsi, and have to believe her on that, and you'll see why. Her 3rd child, a daughter, I believe that the daughter's name is Ilwad, which, unless Ilwad was born prematurely, that would put the date of conception sometime around September 2011. Hopefully we can all count back 9 months from when she was born, of June 2012, so that means she had to be conceived sometime in September of 2011. I mean, poor Ahmed Elmi, right? Remember, in 2012, as far as the state of Minnesota and the federal government of the United States of America is concerned, and him, if you believe her, because he's fallen off the face of the earth, as far as he knows, because they haven't been in communication, he's still legally married to Ilhan Omar, and while he, according to Ilhan Omar, is off in the UK, completely out of contact with her since 2011, she's having a baby with another man. So there's one problem with this story. This is a screenshot, or it's claimed to be a screenshot, of a since-deleted post of Ahmed Elmi's Instagram account that shows Ahmed Elmi holding Ilhan Omar's 3rd child, the daughter Ilwad, on June 12, 2012, the day after she was born. Note the caption of the photo that Ahmed Elmi identifies her as nieces fresh out of the vajayjay. I'll just use that word, exclamation point. So if Ilhan Omar claims under penalty of perjury that she had no contact with, had no idea how to get in touch with Ahmed Elmi after their relationship ended, and he went back to the UK, she claimed in 2011, then how is he in the United States in June 2012 holding her baby, taking a selfie on Instagram the day after she was born in June of 2012? If this screenshot is to be believed. So I mean, that's the only caveat here is, after this photo made the rounds in 2016, it was memory hold, deleted from the Instagram account. So I guess Ilhan Omar's defense would be this is photoshopped or something. But as a matter of fact, Ahmed Elmi's school records show, because remember, in 2012, according to North Dakota State University, he was in Fargo, North Dakota, still attending university, pursuing a degree in art. He didn't, according to their records, he did not get the degree, but he was registered and attended there in 2012. And we could be sure that he was still there in 2012 because Ahmed Elmi's Instagram gives him away. Again, we have some of these posts have since been deleted. He's also it's basically these posts show him that he was still living in the United States all the way up until August 2012. Here's a screenshot of a photo that Ahmed Elmi took of the Minneapolis Stone Arch Bridge on May 10th, 2012. I mean, gonna guess that in this picture that this hall with the American and Minnesota flags hanging on the wall that he took, I'm guessing they weren't taken in the United Kingdom. I don't think they have a lot of American and Minnesota flags hanging in their buildings. But in case you need something more explicit, here's Ahmed Elmi himself telling someone named Andrew J. Lambie that he's moving back to England in August, and that's back in 2012. So the geotag shows that he sent that message on April 23rd, 2012, and he was in Minneapolis, Minnesota. So here's Ilhan Omar in this other picture. She's communicating with Ahmed Elmi on October 8th, 2013. Remember, she said she hasn't, heard from him since 2011. But here's, with this photo, one presumes this picture of one of Ilhan Omar's sister's daughters, her two daughters. If you remember yesterday's video, she has a sister, Layla, who lives in Camden in London, where she says, quote, "They are so cute. Best uncle, you are a smiley face." Well, if those are her sister's daughters, and she's saying he's the best uncle, she's identifying him as the uncle of her sister's children. Which, if they're no longer a couple in 2013 when this message was sent, how could that be the case unless he's biologically related? So if those are Ilhan Omar's nieces, how is it she's communicating with Ahmed Elmi in October 2013 if she said under penalty of perjury in her divorce petition in 2017, not even 2 years ago, that she lost all contact or knowledge of him in 2011? And why does she identify him as the girl's uncle? In fact, notice Ahmed Elmi says in his post himself, he writes of the two girls, uncle mode. So he's identifying himself as the girl's uncle there. So here she is communicating with Ahmed Elmi again in April 2013, where Ahmed Elmi identifies this child as #nephew. Ilhan Omar replies to him, "Why are you calling baby Saeed dummy?" Again, that very popular name in her family, Saeed. Elmi replies that the child, who he's hashtagged as his nephew, is sucking on a dummy. Maybe that's a British euphemism for pacifier. In any event, it's clear that, number one, Ilhan Omar continued to be in communication with Ahmed Elmi, despite what she swore to under oath in her 2017 divorce filing, and that, two, they share some kind of sibling or familial relation, given that they identify as aunt and uncle of the same sets of kids. If you're still not convinced, let's completely pop this balloon then. Most people, as they lead their day-to-day lives, over the years, you leave a paper trail. If you drive, you get traffic tickets. If you start a business, there's more paperwork. You get any kind of criminal charges, whether misdemeanor or felony. This all makes a record that could be found. They're public documents. The Washington Examiner, through the reporting of Tiana Lowe and John Gage, they've obtained many documents that contradict with Representative Ilhan Omar's story, and these documents show that in spite of her claims, she's always been in a married or cohabitating relationship with her first husband, Ahmed Hirsi. The public documents show Ahmed Hirsi and Ilhan Omar lived together. They cohabitated the whole time she was legally married to husband two, Ahmed Nur Saeed Elmi. In 2009, the year that Ilhan Omar married Ahmed Elmi, public documents show that Ahmed Hirsi and Ilhan Omar were living together in the same home in the Cedar Riverside neighborhood of Minneapolis. Now, recall that according to Ilhan Omar, she and Ahmed Hirsi reached an impasse and ended their relationship in 2008, separating the year before. Further, according to the Washington Examiner, legal documents including 24 traffic tickets and misdemeanor charges against Ahmed Hirsi show that he lived at the same Riverside home in 2006, 2008, 2009, 2010, and 2011. You have 4 misdemeanor charges against Ilhan Omar that show her living at the same Cedar Riverside address in 2007, 2009, and 2012. The local courts, you basically have them listing that address for both Ilhan Omar and Ahmed Hirsi in multiple separate legal documents in 2009. So unless you think that the Minnesota or Minneapolis-St. Paul court system is somehow in on this plot to frame, Representative Ilhan Omar, I mean, those are legal public documents that anybody can get their hands on. Lastly, an article about Ilhan Omar. This was way back in 2013, long before she became a politician or a well-known person. At that time, the article identified her as just some Somali refugee, and she makes no mention of husband number 2, Ahmed Elmi, when she says that she and husband number 1, Ahmed Hirsi, the guy that she had their children with, that they moved to Fargo, North Dakota from 2009 to 2011 so she could, as she says, finish her degree in political science at North Dakota State University. Well, we know that the period from 2009 to 2011 is the time when she says she was separated from Ahmed Hirsi and married to what people say is her brother. So how is it that she said she moved to Fargo, North Dakota with Ahmed Hirsi and makes no mention of the guy, the person that she ostensibly would have been with? The Washington Examiner, so here's the answer that I'm sure you've already thought of it. The Washington Examiner, they questioned a Cedar Riverside local who claimed to work on Keith Ellison's 2008 congressional campaign. So he says he saw Ahmed Elmi around the area, but that he'd never known Elmi and Ilhan Omar to be together, and that would fit with her, the marriage being a sham. It was just on paper. On the 2009 marriage certificate, Ilhan Omar and Elmi, they both listed their home at an address in Columbia Heights. Now, Columbia Heights, Minnesota is across the river from Ilhan Omar's Cedar Riverside address. So if you look at who registered a business with the Minnesota Secretary of State, citing that as his home address, dated 3 months after Ilhan Omar's marriage to husband number 2, Ahmed Elmi, it's Ahmed Hirsi registering a coffee lounge, one-on-one cafe lounge. I mean, come on, people. Ilhan Omar, Ahmed Hirsi, they never separated. They lived together continuously every year for over a decade and a half. They've got 3 children together. One conceived at around the same time she was legally married to Ahmed Elmi. Come on. Everywhere Ilhan Omar goes, Ahmed Hirsi follows. It's right there in black and white on court documents, business license applications. Come on. Certainly in the Fargo, North Dakota days at North Dakota State University, they were all living together. I mean, this story is clearly falling apart. And now you've got the British tabloid press reporting on the current day doings of the mystery man, that somehow Ilhan Omar can't find him, but the British tabloid press sure seems to be able to follow him, because he's leaving a trail of Instagram posts from the UK all the way to Kenya. Here he is in a gay nightclub in London called the Heaven Nightclub, which, if you go to its website, they identify themselves as the world's most famous gay nightclub on their website there. Is Ahmed Nur Saeed Elmi perhaps gay? Here he is in 2017 wearing that same head covering that he wore in the Heaven Nightclub photo, and he's pictured head-to-head, cheek-to-jowl there almost, with the suspiciously the same-looking guy from the nightclub. If you could believe it, they're at Trump Tower in that second photo. But then you got to look at these other images that Ahmed Elmi took of himself. And you've got to ask if this guy who's identified as a fashionista, he's hanging out at an establishment in the Heaven Nightclub in London. He's palling around with this rather sprightly looking guy on 2 different continents. Is Ahmed Elmi gay? I don't know. Dude certainly has that fabulous air about him. You know, the sort of guy who would have sparkles on his MySpace page back in the day, if you know what I mean. Still, all this is just speculation on my part. I just think that if it turns out that that's what he is, that it adds to the mystery about Ilhan Omar's marriage to him. I mean, to me, this is clearly a scam. The UK press, unlike the United States press, they aren't as devoted to towing the line for the Democrat Party. Looks like they smell blood in the water, and they're starting to look into this like a school of piranha. The Washington Examiner, I think I described before, they're sifting through decade-old traffic tickets now, and people are combing through Ahmed Elmi's old Instagram posts, checking the geolocation tags on his pictures, or at least they were before Ahmed Elmi took his Instagram account private. If I wasn't 100% sure yesterday, I'm still not 100% sure today, but I'm 99%. I'm 99% plus, I'll say, sure that this thing, that there's something there. The brother marriage thing, it's starting to look to me that that is very likely to be true. So where I don't know where the CNNs of the world are in this story. They're MIA, and that's why I played that little clip of CNN sucks at the start of this video. Well, that's all for this NeoUnrealist. If you want this info to spread, share it on social media. YouTube, they're not going to do it. They barely notify the people subscribe to the channel. So, like the video, drop a comment below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit the notification bell. You got to set it to all if you want to keep up with the new content. But, you know, lastly, if you want to support more directly and you want to toss those hard-earned dollars, shekels, and shillings into the tip jar, you know, by all means, follow the links below to Subscribe Star, PayPal, even Patreon if you're still not driven away off that platform. There's also the BitChute tip pledge button for you bit shooters. But all that said, the fact that you're still here after the money-grubbing, e-begging portion of the video, it's a testament to your fortitude and your willingness to indulge my rambling about this woman's numerous potential falsehoods. Thanks for watching.
Lying woman, sir. Lying John. CNN sucks. Ron Lemon, he lies about everything. Jeff Salami, he whines like a girl. Jay Tupper, you make me wanna hurl. CNN sucks. Yeah, sucker. You're talking. CNN sucks. And Cooper, you know it's true. CNN sucks. Alan Burnett, can you hear us yet? CNN sucks. Give me your story that you'll never forget. CNN sucks.